Shit 90 Shows Taught Me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sarah Humphrey. Sarah, how are you?
Jessica, I'm doing so good. We are just chilling over here. I am so excited to talk about this Blackout episode. It's what are those things called? A capsule episode? Nope, that's not right.
Bottle episode?
Bottle. I forgot the source of the container, but It's not a capsule, it's a bottle episode, and it's a lot of fun. We be saving money on the Felicity streets, but it's good content.
Yeah, of course it always leads to drama anytime there's a bottle episode. Also anytime there's a blackout, we're gonna get the drama. And so of course we had to bring in a special guest to talk about this episode with us, friend of the podcast, Emily. Emily, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying my non-blackout environment at the moment. I've never had a blackout quite as life-changing, perhaps, as this one. So really excited to get into it.
Yeah, not as dramatic. I hate blackouts. The last blackout we had was from like one of the hurricanes. And we had like no power for almost 24 hours. And finally what happened was I was like, you know what? I don't want to stay here another night with no power. So I packed up. I was babysitting our friend's dog. We had 2 dogs. So I packed up all the dogs in the car and then all of our cold groceries and like a overnight bag and this and that and the other thing. I drove to our friend's house and then the power came back.
That's always the way it is. Because that's
so
exactly
annoying.
what happened to us last time we lost power. We went to my parents' house. We finally gave up and it was like 5 p.m. We're like, let's go hang out there for a little bit, maybe take a shower, that sort of thing. Literally 30 minutes after we got there, our power returned. It's always the way it is. Always.
Can you not take a shower at your house with the power out?
I think we didn't have hot water or something.
Oh.
Yeah, the water should still run, but your hot water may not be hot.
Yeah, and I'm not in cold showers. And I think it was like, I'm trying to remember what time of year it was. It doesn't matter. It also may have been like we didn't have AC and it was really hot. Is that possible? Either way, it was not fun to be in our house for whatever reason. I think I also had to work, but yeah, I think the thing though that these shows that I find funny watching shows when they have a blackout, Emily, is like, who just has 70,000 pillar candles like ready to go?
It's insane. They had candles everywhere. How many candles do we think they had in this episode? I mean, it has to have been like 40.
They blew the bottle episode budget just on candles alone for this episode.
All right, so maybe it didn't save them any money because they spent all their money on the candles. I was going to say 40 seems low. I feel like I'm going to say like 101.
There were like groupings of like 10 candles everywhere. No. And like my paranoid brain is immediately like, there's going to be a fire. Like, I'm constantly thinking like, oh, I should get those like flameless LED things that look like, it does like the woo. It looks like it's like an actual flame, but it's not.
We have those.
For ambiance. Do you like them? I feel like it's good ambiance.
We put them out at Halloween. And so we have some that are sparkly purple with black flame. We have white and sparkly red that have the normal color flame. But in the episode, did you see the size of the flames on those? Some of them are like 2-3 inches tall.
They got to trim their wicks.
They really do. I don't know how nothing caught fire the whole time.
I mean, we've seen a fire once on this show, so it wouldn't surprise me to get another.
More than once, like twice.
Yeah, 2 different fires. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get a third in this episode. Yeah. But yeah, we have like major movement in regards to the Felicity and Noel relationship. We got some like more bumps in the road for Sean and Megan. Although this time, Sarah, I wasn't as bothered by the bump in the road, specifically because I felt like we were diving a little bit into like Megan's backstory and a little bit more about her. It didn't feel as petty. It still felt gross from Sean because we're in the 90s and people don't know how to talk about sexual identity. But it felt like less petty, at least.
I didn't find Megan to be petty at all. I found Megan to be in a really weird, awkward, and like vulnerable situation. And I feel as though Sean was just being like a freaking asshat the entire time about it and was not giving her the opportunity to like talk about it. And I felt like Megan might have been like a little too like at the end when she apologized to Sean,
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are you apologizing to him? And like, I guess like the only point for Sean is that like, you know, they've had a relationship for probably around like 6 months or more at this time. They've been together for a bit. Like, I would assume, you know, if you think that you really have like opened up yourself to somebody and like revealed everything about them, I guess like he could be a little hurt that she didn't share this with him. But I felt like he was just being like ridiculous this episode. And I like Sean. I typically have nothing to say bad about Sean. But once again, this is just solidifying Megan as my favorite character on this show with her little layers and onion. We're uncovering new stuff about her. She's interesting and different. And I like her a lot. And it was interesting to watch her navigate this situation with Chris, her old friend from camp. I assume it was a Wicca camp, maybe not, just regular camp.
I think if they had said something like it was like what was it? Like they were family friends or something. Like Chris was friends with like one of Megan's siblings or something.
No, I think Megan was friends with Chris's younger sibling.
That's what it was. And that's how they know each other. But yeah, their history is from 4 years prior to this.
So Emily, there was no camp.
I don't believe so, but I could have missed it. So I have generally found the show Felicity to handle these topics with a lot of maturity, especially in comparison to other shows from the 90s.
Yeah,
but this one kind of felt regressive with the way Sean was really making some homophobic remarks directly to Megan. I don't blame her at all for saying, well, you don't have a girlfriend anymore. When your boyfriend shows their true colors, I think you can walk away, and that's a good decision. It's not the only time this episode, though, where we had a woman apologizing to a man who should not be apologizing, in my opinion. So can't wait to get into it.
Yeah.
I find this show is really good. You're right, with a lot of these sensitive topics, except when it comes to LGBT relationships. Because the only other times that I've had like issues with how things are handled was when Noel reacted to his brother, who turned out to be gay, and then like them like I'm going to use
Richard
this term.
thing.
Yeah. I was gonna use the phrase like queer baiting us into being like the Richard thing. Those are like two other situations where you and I just have been like, I don't know if I like how they handle this. Like, I don't like how the guys are handling this. Noel specifically has like handled it, and I don't know like if this is like telling or if this is a 90s thing. Like I watched like a 90s video movie the other day, and they used the R word a lot, and it's just like one of those like 90s bullshit things that they thought was so funny that's just like really not. And
it really takes me out of it. Like it really just like pulls me straight out of whatever I'm watching, because it's like so painful when like those sorts of things are said. And I will say, because I agree, generally this show is pretty good with difficult subjects. Way better than like certain other shows we cover or have covered. But I will say, like, as much as I hated the way Sean was acting with the whole Megan thing, I thought it was really interesting to have this storyline for Megan. And I think if we were watching this now, like if the show was on now, I think Megan probably is a bi character. I do think they actually are like, no, she's bi. You know what I mean? I don't think they play it as like, oh, it was an experiment. I was like, not that you can't do that sort of thing and not be bi, but I do think they would probably lean more in the bi direction for Megan if this was made nowadays. But I liked that we got to hear from Megan, and they gave us a lot of time with Megan and Chris and like them discussing this entire situation. So we have we could start with Sean and Megan. We also are going to have Noel and Felicity to talk about, Ben, Avery, and Felicity. We're going to have Elena's whole storyline that also felt extremely 90s. I just feel like talking about breast enhancement surgery is bringing me back to the 90s. You know what I mean? Like Pam Anderson. Like I feel like it was like such a thing.
I don't know. I think that people still are obsessed with boobs.
Oh, I mean, no one's not obsessed with boobs. I just feel like it was stuffing your bra. Like, I just felt like that was very 90s, especially with tissues.
No, Jess, we don't know because you and I were taping our bras. We've had the opposite effect. We were like 17 years old, like getting the duct tape out and like wrapping it around our bodies.
Yeah. I was pulling what's her face from Now and Then, definitely. Like break out the duct tape, tape them puppies down. Roberta, that's who it is. Thank you. But yeah, let's talk about Sean and Megan. First of all, Sean was already on my bad side from day one, from moment one, this episode, because Chris is coming over. And at first, Emily, by the way they phrased all of this, I thought Sean and like Chris knew each other. Because it was like, oh, she's gonna come over and watch documentary, and like we're gonna have this whole big night of like the movie and all this other stuff. She's a filmmaker. He was up her ass and up everyone's ass about this documentary, like right away. And I was like, give them like 2 seconds to say hi, Sean. Emily, this was like driving me nuts.
Sean knows how to seize an opportunity when he sees it, and he goes 100% in. I totally agree. But it also seems like he thought Chris was arriving to watch the movie.
Yes.
Which then, Megan tells him, or, it becomes clear Megan did not tell Chris about the movie. So why does Chris think she's coming? She's, coming with her own agenda, we know. But Megan, I guess is hosting her. And then Sean has these ideas. We're going to watch the movie, which Megan neglected to tell Chris about. And so there is miscommunications everywhere, but Sean knows how to go after what he wants. He sees Chris coming in. She is a Hollywood person. I don't even know what her credentials are. I think I missed that.
Credentials that she gets juice from Erewhon like every day for the producer. That's what it seems like. Like Dawson, literally day one of his internship is probably her credentials.
Exactly. It's probably like one credit of something very small, but he sees his way in and he wants to show off his masterpiece.
This is exactly like whenever I go to my best friend's house and her daughter, who is 5 years old, thinks I came to play with her. It's like, no, I'm here to gossip. I'm not here to talk to you. However, this was the best thing ever. I finally got that little girl to gossip about the boys in her preschool. And I was like, my life is complete. Tell me all about it, G. Like, tell me. I was like, and she was like, tell me about like this boy who like pushed her. I was like, oh my God, Gia, why would he do that? Tell me all about it. Like, is he mean? And that was a lot of fun. It's like, I'm not coming for you though, girly pop. I don't want to play in your playroom all day, every day. It's exactly like that.
Chris doesn't even know that he is a filmmaker or documentarian. Like, and of course, as soon as she is in the door, she's engaged. Like, it's yada, yada, yada. And it's interesting because right away it feels like there's this vibe between Chris and Megan, and it takes almost no time at all for Chris to bring it up that they spent a summer together, which maybe you were right, Sarah, because they did mention summer, so it's possible they were at camp when all this went down, being that it was summer. But they kissed, and Chris basically is confessing her love to Megan. Like, she has not stopped thinking about that kiss from 4 years ago. She is engaged to a man. And so it's interesting. It almost feels like I have to assume, because we haven't heard otherwise, that Megan is the only girl Chris has ever kissed. And this feels almost like a mixture to me, Sarah, of like mixing the one that got away, right? Like the what if that people have with people, and also this very complicated part of Chris's sexuality, where if Megan is the only woman that Chris has ever kissed, and we don't know Chris's sexuality. I don't know that it was said in the show, like whether or not she is bi or queer or whatever. But like, if Megan is the only woman Chris has ever kissed, like that is so much pressure to put on like that one kiss, that one potential relationship. It's easy to see how you could then put all these feelings and all this hope onto one kiss from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it made me like sad for Chris in a way, you know?
I mean, it is very sad. Like, I think that a big piece of this is also that she's about to get married and she's about to like join in on this humongous commitment. And like, you know, this is like her, like the beginning of forever for her. So I think that she's like freaking out about that too. And I think that maybe there's a big part of her that is like, either this relationship is not right, or like she knows that her sexuality is you know, not exactly what she's like portraying or thinks it was. And I think that I think that it's kind of easy for her to be like daydreaming of this like one kiss about Megan from 4 years ago. And I kind of think that she's like magnifying it because she's regretting or questioning her decision to get married to this man. So I think that there's like a lot of complicated feelings, and it seems as though, to me anyway, like I think that Megan, it's not like she like has I don't know if she's like if her world had been as rocked by this kiss as Chris. Like, in a way, like, I think that Megan is just like, oh, yeah, it was a kiss. Like, I kissed somebody in the summer. And, like, yeah, like, maybe it's, like, a secret. Like, she didn't tell a lot of people that she has kissed a girl before. But I don't think that she has spent the last 4 years thinking about this kiss. What do you think, Emily?
I agree. I don't think she seemed surprised when Chris came and professed her love. So that tells me that Megan has not been thinking about this for 4 years. It's interesting to hear you say, though, that maybe Chris was not gay, where when I was watching, and it's never said, it's never explicit, but the subtext that I was kind of watching with is that when Megan keeps asking Chris, are you sure you want to marry him? You sure you want to marry Gary? It comes up multiple times. And this is also after Megan kind of makes clear she's not really interested in pursuing a future with Chris. And that makes me think, well, maybe Chris is either gay or bi, and maybe, you know, she's hiding that from Gary. And so this is part of this choice. Or even if she's not hiding it from him, she's still, you know, deciding to move forward to enter a marriage that might not be fully fulfilling for her potentially. That was kind of the subtext that I was taking from the conversations that they were having. But a lot is so unclear because it's never made explicit, you know, what exactly is going on. And I don't know if we ever see Chris again. I'm going to guess not.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that the way we are supposed to be viewing this is more of like how it's going to affect Megan. And I would agree with like both of your assessment that like it doesn't seem like Megan is wanting to like necessarily rekindle anything. And she does seem surprised when Chris has this like big declaration of love for her. I think the way I viewed the way Megan is reacting to all of this, because she doesn't like laugh or she's not rude or dismissive of Chris's feelings. I feel like Megan is trying to help her friend come to terms with her sexuality. Like that was the way I interpreted Megan's actions of like, she's asking, are you sure you want to marry Gary? Because like, if you're not attracted to Gary or you're not attracted to men at all, like that's probably not the move for you. Even if you are attracted to men, if you're in love with me and not with your fiance, sounds like a problem. And so I thought that was really interesting. And then like Chris is very pushy about it too, which I thought was interesting. Like she brings it up after, like it's very obvious that like I don't want to say she came here with like a motive, but like she's been building up to this. You know what I mean? You could tell she's been prepping herself to like say this to Megan. And so then she like later on is like pressuring Megan, like, you never really responded to like what I said. And there's a point where it looks like Chris is leaning in to kiss Megan. And that's when, and so we don't know how Megan would have reacted. It seems to me, based on the conversation they have about Megan telling Chris that she broke up with Sean, that Megan is very clear that she is in love with Sean, and like that is where her heart is. But Sean, of course, this is where we get some like not great looks from Sean, basically saying like, how dare you? We've been dating for, I'm trying to think about this, Sarah, because they started dating over the summer. We know that because they went away together. We know it's past Christmas.
Okay, like let's see. So like summer probably started for them in May.
Right.
So let's say June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We're already at 7 months.
So it's at least 7 months.
7 to 8 months they've been together.
Right. And so his whole theory, philosophy, whatever, is how dare us, you know, we've been dating this long and you never said anything. Like you never told me anything. And like, I don't know, Sarah, like, again, we don't know. They don't put a label on it. Megan's sexuality, right? Like we don't know if she's bi or just she was. I just kissed her. I kissed her one time, you know?
Yeah.
But like, also, that's not Sean's nest. This is his business. Like, why is Elena, why is Megan bringing up a kiss from 4 years ago?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't start dating my husband and say, here are all the men that I've ever kissed. He's heard all about it because he listens to my podcast and I've shared every single man I've ever kissed. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't start a relationship and be like, here is my kissing history. Maybe sex, like maybe like, oh, like I've had this sexual encounter and this sexual encounter. But like, I definitely haven't listed every single person I've ever kissed. And my only thing is like, I feel like Megan is progressive enough to not be like, oh, like it's a big thing to kiss a girl. Like, I kind of feel like her vibe is like, yeah, I like kiss this person. It's like a girl. It's like whatever, which I feel like when we can get to that point, like, I feel like we've hit the next level of the universe. Like, I would love for us to just get to that point. Like, let's not make it a big deal. Like, kiss a girl, like kiss a boy, like whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it wasn't like, Emily, it wasn't like she kissed Chris while she was with Sean. All of this is 4 years old. This information is 4 years old. It was one kiss, but I feel like this is par for the course of a 90s show, of like an early aughts show, where it's a very big deal if you've kissed someone of the same sex and like you are labeled as like quote unquote straight in general. And it's so frustrating because generally I would say Sean is a very caring, loving person, but he is falling into some like very ugly behavior that is very typical of the 90s. And it really like, it's so awful. It's so awful, especially because we see Megan and Sean fight very often. And this is like almost the one time, Emily, where I'm like, you are so justified for breaking up with him. And you so quickly took it back.
100%. This is I have been on board with the fighting, the bickering. It's not for me. It's not how I run my relationships. It's not the funnest TV for me to watch either. I wrote down, and I'm not going to repeat it, what Sean says to Megan, because it's ugly. And he is very accusatory. He seems to think that because she kissed a girl once that she's gay, and he is offended by that. And there's just so much wrong with all of that. It's such an old way of looking at sexuality. And Sean needs to grow up. I know he's older than the rest, but he is with Megan. Megan is super cool. If they can't agree on, you know, these values, how they see the world, then I do fear for them. That said, I do still think that they're probably the strongest couple in Felicity and the longest lasting, I'm going to predict. But I need to see some serious growth from Sean, because this is not the first time that he's taken his own personal problems out on Megan.
Yeah. Do you want to make Jessica read the disgusting statement? She's very good at reading.
No, I don't think it needs to even be said. You know, it's so ugly what he says to her when he's accusing her of being gay. And, you know, and that is a personal affront to him, you know, which it just shows
like it has
that he doesn't have an understanding. Yeah.
It always reads to me as like toxic masculinity when like a guy is like, oh, well, what about my penis then? Like it's immediately like, this isn't about you, Sean. This has nothing to do with you.
And she wants to ride his dick like constantly. They have a great sex life, and the last time they had issues, it was from him. So
it's really frustrating. It's so frustrating, especially because I feel like Megan handles this about as well as a person could. Like, I feel like and even after she has this ginormous fight with Sean, she's sitting down talking with Chris, trying to say, like, if you really came here with the intention of having like a fling before you get married, like, don't you think maybe you shouldn't be getting married? Like, she's trying as best she can to let Chris down gently. Like, right, Sarah, she's saying things like, as much as men like piss me off and irritate me, I am attracted to them. Like, I like them. So I feel like that's kind of as clear as she can be without straight up saying the words. Like, I am straight. I am not interested.
Yeah. It was just an awkward situation to be in for Megan. And I think that she handled it as well as she can, especially since she was getting pressure on both sides. And like ultimately, I do like the fact that she was able to like, you know, talk it out with Chris, and like Chris took it okay. I also like the fact that we learned that she did share this with somebody before, and it was Felicity. And like, yes, it might have been like a drunken night, but at least she was honest with Felicity at one point, and it's just like firming up that friendship that they are sharing between them. Like, I think that they're becoming like really good friends, which is nice to see, especially from where we came from. And then rounding out the episode, we do have like a really kind of funny Megan moment where like she jokes about it being a three-way, and I thought that like she handled that joke pretty well, because he literally was like that cartoon where like his eyes like bonked out of his head and the tongue came out, and she's like, no, I'm joking, you freaking idiot. But
this is so typical though. It's so typical of like, oh, I have such a problem that you'd ever make out with anyone who's not a man. Oh, but also if you want to have a threesome, sure, bring a woman into our bed. But like, what? I guess you're the only one allowed to touch her, Sean? Like, this is so typical, especially in the 90s, especially coming from a straight guy.
As long as it's a threesome with two women.
Yep. Can't possibly have another man in there.
Yeah, Megan did have the quote of the night for me, which was when she's telling Chris, I love guys. I wish I didn't, because they're such idiots. Which was honestly such a relatable statement. And
yeah. Every person who's into guys has had that thought at some point. It's like, it would be easier if I wasn't. But no, I appreciated this storyline at the very least. It gives Megan emotional depth. You know, I thought that Megan especially handled it the best of all the characters. And I also like, to your point, Sarah, that like Felicity was in the know. And not for nothing. Okay, I know Felicity never used to be my favorite character, but truly, like, I feel like this woman has the emotional intelligence and maturity well beyond her years when she is attempting to deal with the whole Ben Avery situation, and yet is still like able to take a moment to be like, hey, Megan, are you okay? Like, I know there's stuff going on. Like, she's already dealing with her own shit. And then she's helping out Megan, who they haven't always been on the friendliest of terms. I just appreciated that. I thought it was like very nice of her to do that.
That is very nice, but I do have a bone to pick with Felicity.
Ooh, please do tell.
Because I think that we should get into like the Felicity and not Ruby, Avery, and Ben stuff.
When Felicity said you only like her because she looks like Ruby, I full on laughed out loud. I was like, this is so funny.
I'm like, am I crazy? Or like, I mean, why would they do this? Like, why would they?
Identical to Ruby. She might be a little taller, but she looks so much like Ruby. And so it leads me to wonder, did they cast someone intentionally to look like Ruby and this is going to be a storyline? Or was it like they auditioned this actress, they liked her, and they were like, wow, she looks like Ruby, and we have to acknowledge it because otherwise it's going to be a thing. So I think it's probably the second one.
Yeah.
But she looks so much like Ruby. Doppelgangers.
Truly. I think it's the latter as well. I think that like I think that they were saying like if we don't address this is going to be weird. So let's just put this like offhanded comment in here as like a little nod to the audience that we're in the know. But it is getting weird. I still think that Avery
every time
is an evil genius. I think that she's an evil genius, and I still appreciate her. I think that she has the audacity, and this time she is hanging out with Noel still, and but is only there really to get close to Ben. And on top of that, she is like inviting Ben to Southampton. And I don't know if either of you have been to Southampton, but it is so nice. I love Southampton. It is as nice as Avery had said. So yeah, like I want to go to Southampton with Avery. Absolutely. Sign me up.
She is the worst.
No,
and let me tell you, yes, she is. And let me tell you why. Okay.
Why?
Let me tell you why. Because she is so manipulative. And I feel like Felicity is able to kind of verbalize how I'm feeling a lot, which is she's making me feel paranoid that like I'm being a jealous freak by thinking she's up to something, but she is up to something. And I feel like there's no Felicity is literally put in a lose-lose situation here because either she vocalizes her concerns to Ben and sounds like the jealous girlfriend, or she says nothing and Avery continues to sink her little nasty claws into Ben. Ben is complicit. I will not give Ben a free pass. He is complicit in all of this. But I really, I was so upset for Felicity that like Avery is working her way into this friend group and just especially, Emily, nothing got me more mad when they're all like grouped around the tiny, tiny laptop to watch documentary, right? And Avery is sitting next to Noel and Ben and Felicity are sitting next to each other, but Avery is just looking at Ben. I would have been like glaring at Avery if I was Felicity, truly.
Yeah, so it's so weird. So she was just brought in to be a foil for Felicity, right? Because Felicity has her love triangle with both Ben and Noel, and now Avery is going to be in a love triangle with Ben and Noel. So they're competing for the same guys. And she really wants Ben because Ben's taken and Felicity has him. I think she's someone that just feels entitled to have whatever she wants. And when she doesn't get what she wants, then she knows how to get what she wants. So she has money. She will throw money at you. Here's a watch. Here's a bike. I can help you with your exam. I know a guy. I've got the connections, and manipulative. 100%. I think she's very scary. I love that we have her in this show because she's bringing the drama. I think she's something that this show especially in season 3 has needed. She's really juicing it up. So I'm glad that she's here, but I personally hate her. So
I don't know how. I mean, I like her for the drama, but I hate her like as a human because Sarah, like the thing that really, really just it irks me is she's just always there. She's just always waiting around the corner like, oh, Ben, you're upset. Oh, here.
Literally, she's like waiting outside.
Yes.
On the street.
Infuriating. Oh, Noel told me that you were stressed about a test. She's literally only with Noel to get information about Ben to then use to manipulate him. It is awful. It's so frustrating.
I love this fucking psycho. I think she's phenomenal. Oh my gosh, she's a genius. I swear to goodness. My favorite thing is that like how blatant she is at hitting on Ben all the time. And she knows for a fact that she can do this because if anybody confronts her, she can just turn it around on them and make them seem crazy. And if they don't confront her, then she's just gonna keep on flirting. Like, where's the harm in it? Like it's like, and it's not like she's hiding it. Like, and like Felicity has, and she like could again like go up to her and confront her. And she would just be like, yes, and Like, how can I help you? Like, I am going to flirt with him. I want him. And what can she even say? So she's really just flustering Felicity. And I think it's absolutely hilarious. I really do. I mean, if this happened to me, I would want to fucking drown myself and kill her. But it's not me. And I get to watch her do her little crazy maneuvers. And I'm kind of rooting for her. Like, let her take this man away. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Yes, please.
I'll tell you why, Jessica. And this is me just giving you a gift. Because she's going to take Ben away, then Felicity's going to get with Noel, which means by the end of the series, she's going to go back around. Again. So this is really just a win for you. You should be like kissing freaking Avery's feet right now.
Well, the funny thing is I love how this show knows its own history, right? Like, there are other shows where I get really frustrated. Boy Meets World is like an incredible example of like them not following their own canon. But I love that in this episode, we know Noel is in love with Felicity. Like, we can kind of talk about, because we're talking about this kind of weird love square, we might as well lump Noel into this, where he had like one of their videos for Loser Pet Store has gotten like 400,000 views, which is a lot for the 90s. And some company from Seattle has approached him, and he isn't really considering moving to Seattle. Then he kind of says it in front of Felicity, in my opinion, to gauge her reaction to him leaving. Obviously, she doesn't want that. However, he does something that is pretty selfless in this episode, in my opinion. And when Felicity is in her head about Avery and really upset about the whole Ben situation and feeling like, why isn't he telling me things? He's like leaving me out. He's telling Avery things that he should be like confiding to me about. Noel says, I'm going to show you something. And he brings up, remember when Hannah showed up? I pushed you away. You slept with art guy Eli. And then Sean showed me back in the original documentary days, Sean had showed him a video of Felicity saying all great things about him, how she felt about him, and it put things into perspective. They do the same thing with Ben. And I thought this actually made a lot of sense, where he says, like, she's tough, but she's good, and she pushes me. I overreact. I get pissed off at her, but the next day I always realize that she's right. Always. And that's why I love her. Sarah, it makes sense to me that Ben is so terrified of disappointing Felicity and has in his mind that he's not good enough for her, because literally everyone has told him that, including her mother.
Yeah.
That he doesn't want to tell her, I'm on academic probation, and if I don't pass this test, I could flunk out. It makes sense to me that he would like tell Avery, because it's much more low stakes to tell someone like Avery.
It's such huge Pacey vibes. Like, absolutely. I feel like we have the same exact storyline with Pacey and Joey, and then maybe Pacey opened up to, I don't know, Jen or something along those lines. I feel like I've seen this before. I totally agree with you. Like, I think that like he really does think that Felicity is better than him. He puts Felicity on a pedestal, and he doesn't want to disappoint her because she's smart and she's academically capable, and he already like almost messed up this whole thing with his mom, like her mom rather. I think that it makes a lot of sense to me too. But he was also embarrassed to tell everybody. Like, he didn't tell, who is his friends? Sean? Is Sean his friend?
Sean is still his friend, but I would say Sean and Richard are closer than Ben and Sean
Ben
are.
Not a friend anymore? I mean, besides Avery. Avery is his best friend, actually.
He just disappeared into his relationship, I think. He's friends with Felicity, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know, Emily. Like, what do you think that Ben should have told Felicity about his academic probation?
In an ideal world, yes, but I love that this episode is highlighting both of their insecurities with each other, where Ben feels he's not smart enough for Felicity. And I have what he says in the documentary here about her. He says, "You want to know if I'm tired of being with Felicity? No, I'm not. I mean, she's tough, but that's a good thing, because she has these standards and she pushes me and she pushes me, and I overreact and I get pissed off at her. But the next day, I always realize she's right, always. That's why I love her." And so he needs to get back to that place where he trusts her, even if she's pushing him. And he's not there right now. He is just insecure in his relationship with her. He feels not smart enough. She's also insecure with him right now, with everything going on with Avery. It is Ben's fault that Felicity is in a lose-lose situation here with Avery. If Ben was being a good boyfriend, he would have pushed Avery away. He would not be wearing the watch that she gave him. He would have given all those gifts back. He would not be spending secret time with her. So in an ideal world, he pushes her away. He tells Felicity he's on academic probation, which he's been on all year. So he's been hiding this from Felicity all year. And I can understand the human sense of shame that would come with that, the pressure that you need to perform academically, but you're in a relationship. Mm-hmm. At what point do you say, I trust this person with my life? And he's not there.
Yeah. I want to go and talk about this like secret hangout with Avery, because this is where I have my biggest issue with Felicity in this episode, because basically Avery and Ben are hanging out. I think that this is it's after like some sort of discussion. I think that he decided
it's after she confronts him about, I overheard you and Avery talking about like getting the test scores or getting the test answers.
Yeah. So like they're just talking about this, and I know that like she waited outside and then they walked home together or whatever.
Creepy stalker Avery just waiting for him.
She was probably just outside smoking a cigarette or something, and it just was like a happenstance type of thing.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
that has no ulterior motive.
No. She was just outside. She probably went to the bodega to pick up like an iced tea and was walking back, and then they ran into each other. It was just
serendipity.
It was just an act. Exactly. We watched that movie, didn't we? Maybe not. Maybe that was a different movie. Okay. Anyway, so Felicity comes to, I think that they probably were at the loft, Ben's apartment, and was like, no, they weren't there. Where were they?
No, they were at Ben's apartment.
They were. Okay. So then they were at Ben's apartment. She comes in and like freaks the fuck out that they're hanging out. This is my only issue, is that the whole thing was that she felt like he didn't give her the opportunity with the frat guy to explain the situation. He did not she was upset that he did not give her the opportunity to talk through the whole frat guy thing, and then she did not give him the opportunity to be able to explain why she was hanging out with Avery. And that's my only issue with Felicity in this episode, because we just had this situation not so long ago where she was like, you didn't even let me like give me a chance to explain what happened. Like, you're just ignoring me. You like reacted first. And then she did the same exact thing. And I just wish like it would give her so much credibility in that moment to be like, you know what? You're pissing me off right now. Give me your excuse and I will listen to you. But she just storms off. And then later on, she's on the street with Noel and she's like, I don't want to talk to you. Goodbye. And he was going to be like, hey, Felicity, I listened to what you were saying and I don't want to cheat anymore. And I love you. And she's like, fuck you. I'm going to the movies. Goodbye.
See, I think, and I don't disagree, that she really didn't give him much time to explain. I think for Felicity, it has been building and building and building. I think she was at her breaking point at the point that she got to his apartment, and she expected to see him alone and have this whole makeup, right? Like have this long talk and probably like really talk about their feelings. And instead she's met with the woman that she is most nervous about her boyfriend being around, because that girl has literally said, yes, I like your boyfriend. We have a connection. Like she is terrified of this. And she she sees him alone with her during the blackout. Of course, there's candles. So there's like mood lighting, right? Her wheels are spinning. And on top of that, Ben is wearing the watch Avery got him. Like to me, that is like, that's bad. That's pretty bad. Like,
is it so bad? It's probably a Rolex. That's probably like a $20,000 watch.
It doesn't matter.
Flashing my Rolex all over New York City. Actually, don't do that because you'll probably get mugged. But like, honestly, is that? I mean, like she said, like, it's just gifts. Just keep it. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, return the watch? I don't know.
But he wasn't wearing it earlier, right? Like he just put it on because he's saying, oh, I'm helping her with her victim statement. which is fine. But like, Emily, I really think it's a buildup of things here, because this isn't just some random frat bro. Like, this is like a woman who is pursuing him consistently, buying him things, trying to help him cheat on a test. He is now divulging information, very personal, private information, to Avery instead of Felicity. Like, she's very paranoid, but I feel like rightfully so.
Yeah, I think the difference that I see between what happened at the frat party is the length of time, where Felicity went to this party and things went down, right? And then Ben wanted an explanation from her. Avery's been around for a little while now, and Felicity has told him that she's uncomfortable with what she is seeing and what's happening and all the gifts and the love bombing and all of that. So to me, he's just like breezing right past all those red flags that Felicity has made him aware of. So I think she's a little more justified to need some time to talk later. And it's okay. I'm always okay. If somebody's not ready to talk, they're not ready to talk. Let's talk when both parties are ready, because otherwise it's not going to be constructive for anybody. So she needs time. I think that's okay. I do want to talk about the victim impact statement at some point.
Yeah, let's talk about that now, because so Avery is having to talk because James shot her, obviously. So she is having to make this statement. And we do see, and so Ben is saying he's going to help with it. And we do see at the end of the episode, after Felicity does not want to talk to him, he follows up with her to see like how it went. Yeah, I mean, like, this is heavy. And another reason I understand why Felicity is, I don't want to say paranoid, because I feel like that's like a negative. She's concerned about Avery, is she says like they have this connection, like they're trauma bonding, right, Emily? Like that's the easy term for it. Is like they both went through this like really, really intense situation together.
Yeah, but everybody in the room went through that situation, and then Ben just happened to jump in the ambulance for whatever reason. For no reason, you know? So there's really like, I mean, so he was there when she died, right? But like, okay.
It was his voice that brought her back to life, Emily. Don't
Apparently
forget.
so. I mean, she must have the voice of an angel, you know, to bring him back.
I don't know how she heard him. He whispers every line he says. So I really don't know how she was even, she could even wake up to that, truly.
I have a proposal for you. This is a one-time offer.
Yes.
Are you ready? Do you want to officially switch teams?
No, I don't want to switch teams.
Why not?
Because ultimately,
Ben 10 times more than you.
Noel is a stalker. Okay, I cannot be on Team Noel.
Felicity is also a stalker, though. Don't the stalkers?
I'm not Team Felicity.
Look, no, you know for a fact that she's going to end up with Noel. You can win. Give me the loser. You know,
I will say, I thought, and it could be because I am currently in the midst of watching Scandal for the first time, yes, on which Scott Foley appears, and yes, sexy as ever. Yeah. It could be that, like, plaguing my brain right now, because the other option is Fitz, who's the president, and he sucks. But I thought Noel was really on one this episode. Like, when Felicity says to him, like, what are you talking about? Like, you slept with Avery. And he's like, yeah, but I'm a slut. Like, I just thought it was,
that was so good. That
was so funny.
Emily, don't you think that Jess should take my offer?
Yes.
Yeah. I will speak on it right now.
I don't want to be Team Noel. I'm loyal to Ben.
No, you're not. You're saying horrible things about Ben.
Because all the men on this show suck.
You're saying absolutely revolting things.
And we haven't even talked about Richard yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. All the men suck.
Yeah. You know what? You'll be crying when I win this whole thing.
I will. I will be crying.
You'll be crying when he fucks up. Okay.
Can you agree with me that the reason Noel brought up moving to Seattle was just to gauge Felicity's reaction?
Oh, absolutely. Especially because Felicity seemed like a little disappointed, and then he like was like, "No, never mind. I'm not thinking about going to Seattle. That was just something that I said."
But when he first brought it up, it was kind of like with a attitude where he's like, "Oh, they're just interested in me. They're not interested in you."
Yeah.
Which that was weird.
That really was.
And also he said, Avery says it rains more in New York than Seattle. The fuck kind of weatherman is Avery? That makes no fucking sense. Come on, Avery. Get out of here. I want to see your meteorologist license or degree or whatever.
I think she's majoring in meteorology, actually.
Yes, she seems like she would.
Yeah, I think that she is. I think that she knows all about the weather, actually. You know what? Slytherin teaches you all sorts of things, and you know that bitch is a Slytherin. I can see it. I can sniff it out. Yeah. I mean, okay, so I do think that well, first of all, I think at very first, I think that he was considering going to Seattle. He's like, I have nothing here for me. You are firmly up Ben's ass, and I have no future here. And I think that he was considering it. But
he's graduating soon too.
Yes,
you mentioned that last episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that when once he realizes that Felicity and Ben's relationship is deteriorating, then he's like, oh, never mind. I can stay here and I can get with her. And I think that was the turning point. Like, I think that conversation that he had, because at one point in time, Ben told Felicity in this episode that she was hard to talk to, which is really, really bad. That's so bad. If you're in a relationship, like, honestly, that should be the number one sign that something is not right in a relationship. If you feel like your partner isn't somebody that you can open up to, that's a huge issue. So then Felicity goes to Noel and is like, do you think I'm hard to talk to? And Noel's like, no, I think that you're the easiest person to talk to, which is true because, well, besides Elena, Noel has opened up to Felicity a whole lot, which Jessica, just so you know, that is proof that they are a better couple, that they are like meant to be together. And
I mean,
totally
Ben or Felicity was the first person that Ben told about everything going on with his father.
Felicity was the first person. No, Julie was.
I thought it.
Julie,
no,
Julie was.
Didn't he like vaguely mention it like randomly in season 1 to Felicity? I don't remember.
To Julie.
I
think it was Julie. So I think, or it was either Felicity. No, Ben told Julie, but he was with Felicity, or Ben told Felicity, but he was with Julie. I don't remember. Something like that. Something along those lines. But anyway, don't you want to be with somebody, with a couple, choose a couple, Jessica, where they can talk to each other like Noel?
I thought you were so team Noel. Why do you want me to change sides? Because you want to win?
No, because I want to fuck Ben.
Oh. Why?
I find Ben hot. I don't know.
Wait, okay, actor-wise, do you find the actor that portrays Ben hotter than Scott Foley playing Noel?
When I first saw this show, I would have said no. But I think purely because I just like Ben's energy. Like Ben, allegedly, not really. I just like that he's just like a chill, funny guy most of the time, except when he's being like awful. So I don't know. I'm just like feeling it today. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But so if you want to trade, let me know. Yeah, you said sure.
No.
You said sure. Yeah, you just said it. You just said sure. No. So you want to switch?
No.
Okay, it's fine. I didn't want to switch with you anyway.
Okay. Either way, we are okay. So this is episode 13 of 17 in the season. We're not making it out of another 2 episodes without Felicity and Ben breaking up. Like it's on the horizon. It is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. They're already broken up. And then that means that Noel and Felicity are finally going to have their summer of love together. And what's going to happen, Emily? Are they going to go to the country's biggest yarn ball? Like, what are they going to do?
Well, so do they go to Seattle together?
I could see that. They're kind of seeding it already.
Yeah.
Wait, they haven't had sex yet, have they? They're going to have sex.
No.
Yeah.
Felicity had sex with Eli, our guy Eli.
Yeah.
She didn't have sex with Noel, and then she had sex with Ben.
Yeah, so they need to do it.
They need to do it.
Yeah. I like Seattle. Seattle's a good place. My mom went to Seattle and bought like $500 worth of salmon and shipped it to herself in Florida. Isn't that wild?
Awesome. That is wild. That's a lot of
wild
salmon.
caught salmon, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Anything else on the love square that we have happening before we move on to Elena and Richard?
Oh no. So okay. So is Ben going to go to Southampton with Avery?
I don't know if they're gonna go to Southampton, but I do think he's gonna I think what'll happen is he's gonna make a mistake. He's gonna kiss her or something like that. And then he's gonna be like, "Oh, Felicity, no, I'm so sorry." And she's gonna be like, "Not done." And then go running into Noel's arms, probably. So I don't think he's actually going to date Avery. I think it's going to be more of a hookup.
So I will then say that Ben does go to Southampton with Avery.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, he's poor. He could use some money,
Why doesn't he sell the Rolex?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do.
And the bike. Yeah.
And the motorcycle. Yeah.
I mean, and this is just a few years before everybody has a smartphone. That is their clock, their alarm clock.
Yes. Yep. Watches are obsolete now.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Elena. Elena is in her depression era about Tracy. She cannot stop thinking, why is it that he is going out with this Rose chick and not me? And it's Noel, right? Who goes in to attempt to comfort her. And instead, she gets in her head that, oh no, it's my boobs. My boobs are too small. That's why
Noel tells her that as a joke.
No, what are you doing? This is why you don't send Noel in to comfort a woman after a breakup. Come on, man. You should know better than this.
It was just a little joke, ski poo.
But then it got in her head and it got stuck there.
Yeah, it's so true. Somebody could mention something about you and you never have thought about before, and then when they say that, it's all you can think about, and it's really unfortunate. So yeah, she is now convinced that because Tracy's new girlfriend Rose is well endowed with boobage, that she is the problem because she has a flat chest. So then she's like, I'm going to do a little experiment. I am going to stuff my bra with tissues, which I've said, Jess and I have never had to do this. And then
it sounds awful, honestly. I mean, it's worse to have back pain from huge bazungas, but to stuff your bra, I mean, I never did. But it sounds a little sad.
It's
sad
very
isn't
bad.
Sad isn't pathetic, or sad is in weepy.
I mean, you have tissues right there.
Exactly. That's true.
What was it? Wasn't there a show when we were kids and they're like, oh yeah, you got to use pudding.
That was pudding Now and Then. This is now.
Was it Now and Then?
Yeah, this is the second time you've mentioned Now and Then on this podcast.
It's because it's the right texture. You need pudding. Get your snack packs out, everyone.
That's what Teeny said, actually.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So she with her tissues goes outside, and then Richard's like, oh, you look different. You look good. And then so Elena now has ammunition to be like, see, Noel, I told you it's the boobs. So then she's looking at a plastic surgeon's website. And
how in a blackout?
How did she do this with no internet?
Oh,
no electric.
It took me right out of it. I'm like, she had this up before the power went out? I don't think so.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I am so I didn't even think of that. Well, anyway, she found somehow internet, an Ethernet cord or something, and plugged in. She got plugged in, Jess. And then
jacked in.
That's what it was. And then she's looking at boobs, and then Richard comes around and is like, hey, you're looking at porn? Let me join you. And then they look at boobs together. And then what happens?
He attempts to feel her up.
Oh, yeah, that is what happens. And then
she kicks him in the face. Yeah.
That was pretty insane, actually.
She should have gone further. Yep. You can't just touch a woman's breasts without permission. You can't do that. Freaking Richard.
But she was the one who had to apologize, right?
Yet again. And I honestly, okay, I don't know if it was the the way it went down, like from a camera perspective or an acting perspective. But when she kicked him, I was like, it looked like her foot like barely made contact. So then the next day when he is like, his entire face is bruised, I was like, how did she do like that? That is unrealistic.
Broke his nose.
Good God.
Those self-defense classes really paid off. And
yeah.
they paid off so quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this show spent all their money on prosthetics and on candles this episode. That's where all the money went.
It's so awful. Like I really hate how Richard is like feeding into this insecurity that like that has cropped up on Elena like pretty much instantly. It also, I don't know if I found this. I'm not saying you can't get in your head after a breakup and like wonder why, and like, you know, we've all done the like doom scroll of like, oh, we're going to look at like your ex's, you know, new girlfriend on Instagram or whatever, right? Like, what does she have that I don't, sort of thing. It feels like they took it really far with Elena. Like, I understand her wondering if like her boobs are the reason, right? Like, cause she's already kind of spiraling. But I don't think Elena would actually then start researching doctors to have a breast enhancement surgery. It just felt like they went to like a level 200 instead of like 15, you know? It just was a lot.
I guess so, but I've also been like the type of person who's never really had a serious interest in like breast augmentation. Go on a surgeon's website and just scroll and look at like, oh, like if I did do this, like what would it look like? You know what I mean? I like those pictures are readily available. I'm like, oh, it's like a breast lift and a reduction. I would like to see what those results would look like. I don't know. It's curiosity at that point.
I just found it deeply uncomfortable that Richard was there.
Oh yeah.
This. Like,
oh yeah.
Okay, so he was the test subject, right? Which honestly, worst test subject in the world.
Seriously. Yeah.
Stuffing a bra and seeing if a guy notices. Noel was right when he said you can't base your decision on what Richard says. And then they're looking together. And to me, it's okay. If you're going to look at some models, and also the way Richard described it, where he recognized a left one but not a right one, and then he's liking all of them, makes it sound like it's a dating app where you're swiping, right? You know, so it's just like, if this is the direction that you're thinking you might want to go, don't you do that like by yourself, or not with a random guy that is an acquaintance and at best maybe like a friend of a friend.
Sort of a friend of a friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's not someone I would trust with like that sort of, you know what I mean? Like that, to me, that's a person you really trust. And you're like, let's look at some of these and you tell me honestly what you think. Not let's invite this weird creepo guy into my bedroom to like look at pictures of breasts.
Like, invite him. He just came in.
Either way, it was so weird. And then after the fact, Emily, like you said, she goes to his place to apologize for kicking him and gives him a fucking muffin. No, you shouldn't get any fucking muffins.
Maybe it was a bad muffin. Maybe it was.
What was it? Didn't Javier give someone like a basket of muffins or something?
No, he was going to give a basket of muffins, but then he was mad at somebody like Ben or something. He said no, or Noel, no muffins for you.
Yeah,
no muffins for you.
Yeah, no muffins for Richard either.
Yeah, maybe she brought him. I mean, like I would like it, but maybe she brought him like a cranberry orange muffin, which I heard is
some
not
people hate them.
Muffin.
Yeah,
I
some people
like
hate those muffins.
I like those muffins.
I mean, they're really low on the totem pole for me. They're like bran muffin is at the bottom, but like cranberry orange is like probably the next step up for me.
So rude.
I mean,
I love a cran orange.
Thank you, Emily. You're a star. Thank you. It's so good. I don't understand why people would hate it.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Honestly, Richard is like lucky that Elena didn't report him to the Title IX office. Like she could have definitely done that.
Yeah, he full on grabbed her boobs. Like you cannot. Okay, you can't just grab a woman's boobs. That's not how it works.
Yes.
Also, I did laugh when Elena says, I think it's to Noel, she's, I've got it going on, right? That line was like, who's writing for these kids?
Yeah, that's like, God, what was it? It was like Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, where it was like the writing was like, I know that there's a bunch of boomers writing for like a bunch of like 13-year-olds. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. That's everything that happened in this episode. Did we miss anything? Any comments either of you want to make before we get into some feedback?
I don't think so. I mean, it was a very interesting episode on multiple fronts.
Everyone had something going on.
Mm-hmm. And this was like the third storyline about cheating on exams and getting test score or test results. So do we think we're getting more storylines since the show kind of just keeps bringing that back?
I mean, I think it's just such like a college thing. Like, I think that every college show that I have ever seen involves like a cheating scandal with stolen test answers. So I just think it's like a very easy storyline to do.
Much.
I know.
Yeah, they do it a lot. And we know Ben didn't actually utilize the test, which like if we want to give Ben like the easiest ounce of credit, I mean, good job for not cheating, I suppose. But yeah, and in my head canon, he's like, Felicity would be upset with me. I'm not going to do it. She makes me a better person, whatever. If Avery's feeling real spiteful, maybe she does something with that information and pretends he did. I don't know.
I was never offered test answers to cheat.
You would never offer? Is that what you said?
No, I was never offered.
Oh, you were never offered. I mean, I wasn't either, but I don't think anybody would be offering me test answers. Okay, let's get into some feedback. We got an email from Jamie, and I only read the first sentence, and it already has killed me. Team Ben, here to say, with my whole chest, fuck Ben Covington. Pardon my language, but this episode has me seeing red. Not only is he emotionally cheating, but he's being a total ass to Felicity when he has no right to. He had no business being alone drinking with Avery after she admitted to him last episode that she feels she belongs with him. Also, when a woman asks you to go away with her for a weekend and the invitation does not include your girlfriend, she's coming on to you. When Ben said nothing after Avery asked him if the reason he couldn't go was because he didn't want to go or because he has a girlfriend, it made me lose all respect for him. His silence more than answered the question. And then he has the audacity to yell at Felicity when she questions him in his relationship with Avery. Fuck him. I wanted Felicity to leave the loft and march straight to Noel and fuck his brains out. Jamie, are you okay? I don't normally support cheating, but Ben deserves to be cheated on. No, but that would make her a hypocrite, and then it would just it would be her fault.
Yeah.
Also, how dare he show up at the court hearing for Avery? Carrie Russell's acting this episode was amazing. Her tears, her asking Noel if she's difficult to talk to, and her telling Noel she is sad completely broke my heart. I normally can't stand Noel, but I found him so endearing this episode. His selfless act of showing Felicity the video of Ben saying why he loves her was so thoughtful and kind.
That was.
Especially seeing how brokenhearted he looked at Felicity when Felicity left to go talk to Ben. If Noel continues down this path, I might have to switch over to Team Noel. No, Jamie.
Yes, that's a good place to be over here at Team Noel.
No.
I think that it is I think that Team Noel's looking on the up and up.
Ugh.
Everyone will come to my side.
To jump topics a bit before I go, I loved how the show called out Avery's resemblance to Ruby. Lastly, I will say I loved your discussion on baby names last week. Meanwhile, I'm thinking everyone's skipping 10 minutes ahead during that entire conversation. And I will share with you my top choices. Sarah, are you ready for Jamie's top baby names?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. Yeah.
Okay. For a boy, Shane.
I like that name, yeah.
Like Shane. It makes me think of Stardew Valley, though. And a name that I love for succession reasons, Willa for a girl.
Oh.
And apparently that is the name of Carrie Russell's daughter.
Oh.
I like Willa. Willa's nice.
Willa's nice.
Yeah, that's a great name. That name came up on a show, not Succession, that I finished watching yesterday.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Oh, it came up as a baby name? I'm trying to think. Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's all I'll say in case, that's a spoiler for anybody out there.
Who hasn't seen 6 Feet Under this many years into it.
Yeah, I really like that name, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty name. It's not like, it feels like it captures the niceness of the name Willow without being quite as like nature-y. You know what I mean?
It's not a literal thing.
Yeah.
The update of the baby names between
how is the app going, Sarah?
Not great. Not great. Yeah. I had thought that we had a lot of matches, but in reality, I just was reading the list of names that I liked, and I misunderstood the assignment.
So did you match on any of them?
We matched on like 5 or 4, but I don't even like any of them, honestly. It's not looking good.
Oh no.
It's really not looking good. I don't know what we're going to do.
Did you okay, I'm trying to remember. This happened off podcast, I believe. But I believe your husband tried to propose a deal.
Yeah, so this deal is pretty ongoing. We both like making one-time offers. I think that this is definitely a couple's trait of ours.
Sounds horrible to me.
Maybe a one-time offer that if we had a girl, we would name her Mackenzie because he's obsessed with that name. And if we had a boy, then we can name him Eli. Which is a name that I really like a lot. And he said that was the deal. And I did not take him up on this offer at that time, but that doesn't mean that the one-time offer won't come again, because that's also kind of how our deals go. So
they come up again, even though they're one-time offer.
Yeah. Emily, what do you think about that deal? Do you think that I should have taken that deal?
No, I think you were right to hold off. Now, I like the name Mackenzie, but does your husband like it because it's on Veronica Mars?
He says no. He says no. He says no. However,
he also likes the nickname Mac, so it's a little bit suspicious.
Why he likes Mackenzie is the nickname Mac. So I don't. He says that that's not why, but I also don't think that that's. He also finds it when people have a purple streak in their hair, a la Mac from Veronica Mars, very sexy. So, in all honesty, I think that he just has a crush on Mac from Veronica.
You were right to hold off.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't know. It is an issue.
It's his first offer. He has to come back with a better one, you know?
Yeah, you got to negotiate him up.
We did have this other deal, and the deal was that if we had okay, it was so specific. It was so weird. Okay, if we had a kid and then we had a second kid, but they were twins, and one of them was a girl, then one of them could be named Mackenzie.
That is insanely specific. What are the chances of that happening?
I don't know, but we did agree on that deal. So the deal is we have to have
already have one kid, and then you
have a kid,
and then
we
you have
get pregnant again, even though we only want. Yeah, exactly. But we only want one kid. But if we somehow get pregnant again and they just so happen to be twins, and we already have one girl, then the second girl.
Oh, the first kid has to be a girl too.
Or it's twin girls. Basically, like only if we have 2 girls.
Got it.
Then one of them can be named Mackenzie, but not if we have a girl and then another girl. The second set has to be a twin.
Why? Why does it have to be twins?
Because this is how specific the deal has to be in order for me, because I don't want to name my kid Mackenzie.
Oh, so you're like, it has to be real rare. Really rare.
Very specific. That is actually an approved deal that we had.
But what are you getting out of that deal?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're getting anything.
A kid that's not named Mackenzie 2 out of 3 times.
But he's still getting a Mackenzie. Do you get an Eli out of the equation?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like Eli is like my secondary pick. I really like the name.
You got screwed out of this deal.
Well, I know. I mean, literally, my husband is Adam. He is a swindler. Like we all know this.
He's a master negotiator.
This is what I like about him, but also
it cuts both ways.
So I think like Eli's not even like my number 1 pick. I like Elliot, but he doesn't like the name Elliot because he thinks it's too wussy.
I just don't understand how the name. I don't. Anyway. Also, I need to update and say that after the podcast, my husband removed Felicity from his list. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was the show or something else, but he was like, I never said that. He also decided he didn't like Bo either, which is fine by me because I never liked Bo to begin with. But yeah. Anyway, that's the update on the baby names. Sarah, keep us posted if any further deals get proposed or agreed to.
I will. I mean, there's a lot of deals at all times at my house, actually.
I'm only interested in the baby name deals. To be very clear.
That's very fine.
Okay, let's listen to some voicemails. Let's hear what Temmie has to say about this episode.
Hi, Sarah, Jessica, Emily. Emily, are you a fan of Clifford the Big Red Dog stories? You know, Emily is a character. It's the owner of the dog. Okay. The character that Megan had a previous relationship moment with was played by Elizabeth Keener, whose sister is also an actress, Catherine Keener. You probably know her best from The 40-Year-Old Virgin. She was Steve Carell's love interest. So my question is, how do you assess Avery in the context of a troublemaker for one of the main characters, namely Felicity, compared to another troublemaker, Regina George? Last episode, Sarah mentioned Abby Morgan, so I had to start rewriting this question. And then soon after, in the same episode, Jess said the limit does not exist in another context a little bit later. So it was fated for Regina in terms of this Mean Girls question. So again, compare Regina George to Avery. I'll mention Eve from Dawson's Creek as a second option. It's interesting to see a triangle where two women are pursuing a man. Usually we don't see that. And then separately.
So just to pause down and answer this question. So Avery is a big troublemaker for sure. I'd say though, Regina's more mean girl than meddlesome. Avery is, I think Emily said it best, just thinks she is entitled to everything.
Yeah, I think they both share that entitlement. I love the comparison because it's also kind of that archetype of person who looks a certain way, behaves a certain way. And Regina was queen of the school. And we have Avery, who is trying to be queen of the inner group, or the core group, as Richard calls them in the episode, which was also a really funny meta moment. And to answer Temmie's question about Emily from Emily Elizabeth, the owner of Clifford the Big Red Dog, I don't think I've been asked that question in at least 15 years. So, but I did get used to get that question all the time growing up. So I'm a little older. I'm in my late 30s now. And when I was born, the name Emily was not common at all. And then all of a sudden there was a big Emily boom. So Emily,
what if it was Friends related? Because there was the Friends Emily character, but she's not like super likable. So maybe not.
I don't know. I don't know what precipitated it. I was born in the 80s. I can't say. So that's a little bit of history. Thanks for bringing up that question. I haven't thought about Clifford in a very long time.
Do you like scented candles? What are your favorite scents and where do you buy them? Thanks. Bye.
Because all the candles in the episode. I'm like, why is he asking about candles? I use wax melts exclusively at this point. They're easier for storage purposes. There's no flame, so there's no real fire risk. Dogs are tails and flames. I don't want to mess with that. So generally I use wax melts also because you can change out the scent like quicker and easier than candles. But today I had on a coffee scented wax melt. I am 100% into like food and like sweet smells. My husband, I allow in the wintertime us to use like a pine tree sort of smell because he likes those smells for around Christmas time. But beyond that, I am a strictly sweets. What about you, Emily?
Yeah, second on the sweets. Smells can bother me, especially if they're like musky or if they're not food related. I don't usually have problems with the food smelling candles. But yeah, anything that's kind of like ocean bay, wind breeze, anything that's kind of like that can really bother me and give me headaches. So I may enjoy
lavender does that to me. Lavender gives me headaches.
Yep. Yeah. I might enjoy it for like a minute, but then no. Yep. I like anything, pumpkin, chocolate, Coffee is good, like you said. Anything cinnamon smelling, those kind
Anything
of
vanilla
fall scents. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Same. I usually stock up around like fall and winter. That's when I stock up on all my faves. What about you, Sarah? You hate all of the things we just said. You're like you're into the masculine type of scent.
I like my home to smell like a hot man, actually. Like
a lumberjack.
I love mahogany teak wood. I like that, like mahogany teak wood. I like cinnamon. I like the pine scents. Like I like all of that. And then on the flip side, I also really like eucalyptus, tea tree, like spa scents. Adam really likes the sweet scents and food scents, and I really hate them. Like I think that they stink. Like I don't like it at all. So
the only time I'll use the clean scents is like in the bathroom specifically is where I light one of those.
Yeah, so his office literally smells like a cupcake, and then my office smells like a man's locker room. So it's pretty comical.
Incredible. Thanks so much, Temmie, for sending in a voicemail. Let's hear what DBK has to say about this episode.
What up, though, ladies? Okay, couple quick things from this episode. The Chris and Megan of it all. If you wanted them to kiss and you're mad that they didn't, blame Jack from Dawson's Creek, because I guess his first kiss on Dawson's Creek came out like right around this episode, so that's why they didn't kiss on Felicity, I guess. I don't know. Amanda Foreman has spoke about this on podcast or in print articles or something. I see it somewhere. Anyways, is Avery sleeping with Noel like a good way to get information on Ben? And wouldn't you think that would turn like Ben off? But I don't know. I just think this is a weird move.
You'd think.
We get this crazy side plot with Elena wanting a boob job because of like a silly thing Noel said to her. Just craziness. And then Richard does what Richard does, but we won't speak of it because we didn't speak of it the other way when Megan did it. So let's not talk about it this way.
Wait, what did Megan do?
Was she touching guys at the
Oh, we definitely condemned her for that. The calendar thing, right?
Yeah,
we definitely condemned her for that. But still don't touch women's boobs. Okay.
No touching.
And then Sean's trying to show his documentary to this lady. No one's caring. And then Avery wants Ben to go to the Hamptons, but I mean Ben would never go to the Hamptons with Avery. That's like a Noel type move. Noel would go to the Hamptons with Avery, but Ben would never. Ben would never leave Felicity behind and go to the Hamptons with another girl. That's just Noelish type behavior, and Ben would never do such a thing. Anyways, till next week, ladies.
There's a lot of
Peace.
nevers in that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like he's going to the Hamptons.
Ben. He's going somewhere. Straight to hell.
You tell him. You tell him. He's going to the Hamptons. The Hamptons is a fun place, so I don't blame him.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm trying to remember when, like, I think, did we see Ben actually recording that segment of documentary that Felicity got to watch? I'm trying to remember, because if so, I'm wondering, like, when did he record that?
I feel like it's familiar, but I don't know, honestly.
I'm just wondering, like, okay, because here's where my brain is. I'm wondering if Ben is so dumb that it is like an Avery manipulation of, you feel this connection, right? You feel it. You must feel it. Like, is he like, yeah, I guess I feel it now.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
Is that what's happening? Like,
I think
it's just
so.
unbelievable. Like, does she like incept feelings into Ben? Like, this is ridiculous.
Maybe she is a like a hypnotizer.
Yes, a hypnotist. Hypnotist Avery, just like we have a Dust Mite Mayor, we have Hypnotist Avery on this show.
Look, you're not coming up with better ideas.
I'm not. I think she's just manipulative and awful, and Ben is an idiot. Just like Megan said, guys are idiots, and I wish I didn't like them. Oh, well, that's all the feedback we have. If you want to send some in, shit90spod.com, shit90spod@gmail.com is the way to do so. Emily, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. I feel like you picked a good one. You picked an eventful episode of Felicity to join us for.
Well, when I was looking at what the options were, I, of course, had to do something that worked for my schedule. But then I looked at the IMDb ratings and picked the highest.
Nice. That's a good one. Yes.
Very
Good
smart.
choice. Yes.
Yeah, this was a great episode. So much happened. And, you know, a Blackout really allows characters to have all of that kind of character interaction, growth, drama.
And they're bored because they have nothing else to do.
Exactly.
It's dark outside. Yeah, incredible. Well, Sarah, do you want to know the title? Oh, we have to award a winner. Okay, before we leave, who won this episode of Felicity?
Avery.
Over my dead body. I mean, I hate to give it to Noel because he's a creepy stalker, but also I feel like he kind of earned it. Or Megan, because I feel like Megan handled things really well with Chris. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't care.
Emily, what do you think?
Well, so when I was thinking about it while watching the episode, I was leaning toward Megan. But then when we were talking about it on the podcast, I was leaning more toward Noel.
Okay, well let's go with your last instinct, and we'll give a point to Noel. There you go, Sarah. Your guy has a point.
Yes, I totally think that he should.
There you go.
Deserves this.
He's earned it.
Absolutely the best, and I'm very happy to be Team Noel.
I really think my viewing of Scandal is impacting the way I'm viewing this character. I can't help it. Like Scott Foley, there's something magical about his face. Like there really is. It's really disturbing.
Very cute. He's very cute.
Oh, and he looks, after watching so much of him on Scandal, and like, because I'm watching like 10 episodes of Scandal before I'm going back to an episode of Felicity, he's like has such baby face on this show.
Yeah.
Like he looks so grown up on Scandal. Anyway.
Yeah.
So are you ready to hear the title of the next episode? Season 3, episode 14.
Yes.
Pie Day. The Breakup Kit. Not looking good for old Team Ben.
No, I mean maybe everybody gets broken up with. I mean,
Megan and Sean again.
Yeah.
No one else is together, right? Because like Noel and Avery aren't dating. Elena isn't dating anyone, so it has to be either Sean and Megan or Felicity and Ben.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll find out next week. In the meantime, you could follow us everywhere at Shit90spod. Leave us a little 5-star review. It makes our day just so much brighter, and I'll read it on the podcast. Emily, do you have anything you want to plug? Anywhere you want people to find you? If not, that's cool too.
You can find me in the former, what used to be known as the PSR Discord. That's where I am.
Yeah, incredible. Well, everyone, we hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll be back next week to cover season 3, episode 14, The Breakup Kit. Until then, everyone, have a good one. Bye.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.